In this session, we are going to handle the responses from OpenAI that are in fact API errors. What happens if we send a request to OpenAI using a wrong model? The only way to know the answer at that question is to run some code. Let's jump into the mini buffer and set the variable ChatGPT model to a model that doesn't exist, for instance, foo. We press return, and now we call the function ChatGPT, and we send the prompt hello to OpenAI. So we press Ctrl+C, Ctrl+C, and we got an error in the echo area that we can read. Error in process sentinel, wrong type argument. Let's look at ChatGPT send request, the function where we get that error, and specifically this error occur in the sentinel function. And to get a better understanding of that error, we are going to turn on the debugger with the function toggle debug on error. And now the next time we get an error, we will enter the debugger. So let's do that again. We call ChatGPT and we send the prompt hello. And now we enter the debugger, we have the same error, but we can see that this happened when we try to insert something, and we try to insert something in the function when we are calling the function ChatGPT callback. And specifically, we can see that we try to insert a nil value into the buffer, which is impossible. We can insert only characters or a string. So now let's go back into ChatGPT.l file, and let's go into ChatGPT callback function. We can see that the function, the insert function takes an argument at some point which is a response, and this is that response which is nil. So when do we call ChatGPT callback with that response? So we can see in the ChatGPT send request and in the sentinel function, this is at that point that we pass response to ChatGPT callback, and the response is defined here. So this is when we try to get the content via the root choices 0 message content into the response that we receive from OpenAI, that we return nil. So the problems come from that point. So let's go into the message buffer at the end, and we see the call that the last request that we've done is that one. So let's check with FF API, so find file at point, we press return, and now we can look at the response that we receive from OpenAI. And we see that we get an error, and the error, the message error says the model foo does not exist or you do not have access to it. Okay, so this is the problem that we get. And why do we return nil? Is because we don't have the roots that start with choices. So now we need, when we are in the sentinel and we have the response that we pass the response at that point, we need to distinguish between a response that has the field error and a response that don't have the field error. So let's do that right now. So we copy that to one. We have a let here. And this is when everything goes well, we do this. It is the same thing that before. But now we are going to add a if let, and we are going to check. So let's call that error API error. And we want to try to paylist get, and we want to get in the response if we have the error, we get it, we set API error to that value, and now we are going to do something. And the thing that we want to do is really to signal an error. So we are going to signal an error here, and we want, for instance, just to return API error, to signal that error. Now, better, we can create that object with type API error like that, and maybe we can say that the error is API error. So, okay, so now let's evaluate that expression, which redefine ChatGPT send request, and now let's call ChatGPT. We are going to send again the prompt hello, And now this should this should signal an error, that error that we've just produced, written. And we see this is what we got in the echo area. Type API error, and we have the error. So this is really much better than what we had before. That was impossible to understand. If this is working correctly, we need also to set again ChatGPT model to GPT-4o, a model that exists. So we press return. We go back into the prompt buffer, and we send hello, and we hope that this still works correctly. So we send that prompt, and we get the response, hello, how can I assist you today? So everything is working well. Great, we signal API errors, but it might be even better to also save these errors. So let's do that. We jump into the mini buffer, and we set back the variable ChatGPT model to foo, a model that doesn't exist, such that next time that we send a request to OpenAI, we will get an error. Now we modify the Sentinel function to save these API errors. So we bind error to this expression. We remove that expression and replace it by error, and we've modified the Sentinel function, but it does still the same thing. Now we want to write the error, so we copy the expression that writes the response, and we modify the path to be error path and the response to be error. So we want to encode the error now. Let's go here, and now we need to define the error path. So we copy how we defined the response path, and we are going to modify that for the error. So we replace response by error and resp path by error path. So now this should work. We evaluate that expression, which redefine ChatGPT send request, and now we call ChatGPT, and we are going to send the prompt hello. So we send that prompt. We get an error that has been signaled in the echo area, so this is great. Now we jump into the message buffer, and we see that the last request that we send is that one. We are going to use ffap to jump into the request directory, and we see now that we have a request.json file and also an error.json file. So we go into that file, and we see that the type is API error, and we have the message, which is the model foo does not exist, blah blah blah. So we found the way to save the request. Last thing to do is to test if it still works with a correct model. So we go into the mini buffer, and we set back the GPT-4o, the model to GPT-4o, and we call ChatGPT, and now we send the prompt hello, and it works. Finally, we are going to signal and save the process errors that occur in the Sentinel function. So far, whenever the process status changes to an event different from finished, we print out the message error. We want to change that. But to be sure that our changes are correct, we first are going to modify the function ChatGPT send. What we do specifically is to kill the process returned by ChatGPT send request, so that the event is going to be killed and not finished, and we are going to be in the branch where so far we have message error. So let's evaluate that expression, which redefines ChatGPT send. We call ChatGPT, we send the prompt hello, and the process has been killed, and so we see in the echo area the message error. Okay, so this is what we wanted to see. Now we are going to change that message error, and we want exactly to copy that part that we've just written previously, which write an error and also signal an error. But the error is no longer of type API, but we are going to write that process, and the error here, we are going to write event, and we want the event. Now we evaluate that expression which redefine ChatGPT send request. Now we call ChatGPT, we send the prompt hello. We got the error signal in the echo area, so this is great, the type process error and the error event killed. And now we go into the message buffer and we are going to see that request. We use FFAP to jump into that request directory, and we see that we have the request.json file and an error.json file, and the error is of type process error, and we have the event which is killed. We've almost done, but we should remove the kill process to be sure that everything is working correctly. We evaluate that expression which redefines ChatGPT send. We call ChatGPT and we send the prompt hello, and everything is working well. In the next lessons, we are going to work in the prompt history and write the command ChatGPT previous and ChatGPT next.